time clock in the corner. So welcome to the June 9th, 2021 Appraisal Commission meeting. Welcome all, and welcome to our guests, and especially from our friends in DC, although I know you're not in DC. You are every place else, other than that, I guess. So welcome aboard. The first thing I would like to do is we have to review the minutes of the 12th of May. Are there any revisions, edits that needed to be addressed? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
And Linda's got the second. Questions, comments? Minutes are approved. Thank you. I would like to go off the agenda for just a moment, please. And Vicki Metcalf, who passed away, and it took the breath out of me knowing that. And I just would like, just for a few moments of silence, please, to remember how I've been on this commission well over 25 years, and she was always a friend and gave us assistance here in Connecticut. So could you just give a moment of silence and thoughts for Vicki and her family? Thank you. Dearly will miss, and we send our thoughts to her colleagues, those who are on the phone, in our meeting today, and I can only just imagine what you all are going through. So our thoughts and prayers are with them and with you folks as well. That's a little awkward segue, but welcome to our friends from the ASC here, and I would like us, so we don't want to cut into any of the time that you need to go over whatever needs to be gone over here. So we're gonna turn over the floor to you, and please take as long as you need. And therefore, once your presentation, our questions and so forth are over, we will then pick up whatever other agenda items that we have to address this morning. But welcome and thank you. And it's good to see familiar faces. Hi, Jenny.
Hey, Gerald, thank you so much for the time. It's really good to be with you all here again. So all of you have met me before and are familiar with the compliance review process. I'm assisted by a newer member of our staff, Maria Brown. We hired her as our regulatory affairs specialist. And she is currently in training for the policy manager position as well. So she is my assistant on this visit. We were last with you in June of 2018. That was our last review of your program. And you received an excellent rating. And I definitely commended your staff in our opening meeting for this visit, and I want to commend them again for the hard work that they do. Linda and everyone that works with her just runs, they're very diligent. They really care about this program, and they do a fantastic job. And it definitely showed with the excellent rating that you received in 2018. And of course, we're still finding the good work that is always going on here on this visit. I want to, instead of going through Title 11, all of y'all are familiar with, the subcommittee being created by Title 11 and that type of thing. I want to talk a little bit more about what the functions of the ASC are. So we oversee the states, and of course, you know that when Congress created wrote Title 11, that they decided the states were in the best position to regulate the appraisers, so they created our agency, and we're a very small federal government agency. We have currently 12 staff members, And I sent Linda an electronic copy of our most recent annual report. And if you electronic version, you can refer to pages 8 and 9. You will see listed our staff members and our board members. So our board is made up of the banking agencies, HUD, Financial Protection Bureau, and that like a commission as you do, but we call them the appraisal subcommittee, but they're making the decisions on the behalf of our agency. And then we as the staff are carrying out those decisions. We stay in touch with our states all the time. Linda and I are in regular contact, and she is really good about, contacting me anytime you make changes to your, statutes, regs, applications, or you just have questions about maybe an education course you received or something like that. We are in conversation all the time. And then, as you know, we come in and do these regular visits. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a second, but I also wanted to mention that we also now have our grants program up and running, and we have already granted money to numerous states. And so we're encouraging all states to apply for that money. It is for any area to help you meet your Title 11 responsibilities. So a lot of the applications we've received have been for infrastructure such as technology, for hiring personnel to assist, but particularly we see things like reviewers for enforcement cases. We see qualified witnesses for testimony, those types of things in the hiring process. But anything that would help you to meet your Title 11 responsibilities in the areas that we oversee are eligible. And it's a simple process. There's an application on our website that can be filled out. And then our grant specialist, Mark Abbott, can help you with that. If you have questions or need assistance with filling out the application, and then the applications are vetted, and should there be any tweaks that need to be made to the application, Mark would work with you on that. So I wanted to mention that. And then, as you already know, we maintain the National Registry, which has all the certified, licensed appraisers across the nation who are qualified to appraise in federally related transactions. We maintain our complaint referral hotline. So that is a link on our website as well as a 1-800 number. And the purpose of that is to assist the complainant in finding the correct agency to submit their complaint, because that might be one of the agencies that sit on our board. It might be another state agency other than the Appraiser Commission. It might be an Attorney's General office. Whatever agency or entity should receive that complaint, it walks the complainant through the different elements of their complaint and helps them determine where to send that complaint. And then lastly, we oversee the Appraisal Foundation, which you all know is a nonprofit organization that sets the standards and the qualification criteria, them grants for the work that they do. So I want to talk a little bit more about the compliance reviews. We normally, are coming in to conduct a compliance review at this time. We do it at least every 2 years. Well, due to the pandemic and the challenges that the states have had to overcome due to that, it was the decision of the appraisal subcommittee to offer regulatory relief this go around. So we are, instead of conducting a full compliance, we are doing what we call a state offsite assessment. And it's more of we are reviewing almost everything that we review at a normal compliance review, except that we're not coming on site and we're not reviewing specific files that we would normally review when we come on site. Typically, we would review a selection of applications, temporary practice permits, enforcement, education, those types of things. We would review a select sample of those, and that part of the process we are not doing. We're reviewing all the materials that are pre-review materials that are sent to us, your statutes, your regulations, lists of applications, lists of enforcement files, your CE audit, meeting minutes, those types of things are sent to us ahead of time. Linda and her staff gathered all of that and sent it all to us, plus filled out questionnaires, sent us copies of all your applications. We look at your website, we look at past correspondence, and we study all of that material. And instead of writing a formal report and a letter that's public record, for this go around on the state offsite assessment, we're just offering oral advice as well as a written letter that will not be a public record. It will be an informal communication from us to you as a commission and the staff with any recommendations as to things that may not be in compliance. So when we were in Florida doing this, they called it a warning letter, so or a warning ticket. So that's essentially what we're doing this go around. So, you know, I will be meeting with your staff later today, and we'll be talking about things that we are seeing and going over those and offering our suggestions. And you will get a letter, but again, none of it is public record, and it's all just recommendations to you for things to look at before we resume our full compliance review schedule, which would mean in 2 years, so in 2023, we would be coming back for a full compliance review. We will not be giving a rating. Typically, we have a rating on a scale of excellent, good, needs improvement. Excellent, good, satisfactory, needs improvement, or poor. We won't be giving a rating this go around. And it's really just to assist the states and provide feedback without that official report that typically comes out. I will mention that all of the compliance review reports from all of our past reviews are on our website. They're also in the back of our annual report, so that's something that you may want to refer to. So with all of that said, the one question that I have for y'all today has to do with the vacancies on your board and how I want some feedback from you as to how anxious are you to have those vacancies filled, and is it causing you much of a problem? And one of the reasons I asked the question is that we can write letters of support to the governor, encouraging them to fill those vacancies. And I will absolutely do that based on the feedback you give me. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Linda, or Norris, do you want to start? I don't know if Shauna's on. I don't see her on the list.
Hi, Jenny. This is John Galvin. Thank you guys for your information you're providing. But I know the appraisal community is aware that we have some openings in our area, and there's periodically some interest, but no one ever seems to want to step up. But I will tell you that I personally think we have really good synergy amongst those of us that are on the commission. We have an excellent staff that always answers questions, always provides us with what we need, whenever it gives us guidance on everything from when even on the political realm. And we have a really good liaison from the Attorney General's office that comes over. Alan, an attorney who also has come, Vicky has brought him in periodically to clarify things. So we don't, I don't think we have any issues with regarding the vacancies at this time. That's my opinion.
And how about going forward? Do you feel that you're able to handle things going forward?
Yeah, I don't see, there's nothing really on the horizon coming up. We've had some challenges since I've been on the commission since 2014 with different things that have come up, but we've always managed to work together as a team without any issues at all. You know, even if we're not sure on how to handle something and we may disagree at first, there seems to be this real good, you know, we keep talking it out until the right answer comes out, you know. And there's been times when, you know, for me personally, there's been times when I've been thinking in one direction, and as we listen, something evolves, the solution comes out better than I could even have thought about it, whatever. So we have a lot of different expertise. You know, Jerry sees things on a national level. I see things on more of a local level and what's going on in the state and connecting to peers. Linda Sepso is very involved with the residential side of the community and teaches USPAP, both very nice. So that factor comes in. And then Shauna has a great connection with the assessors. She's an assessor. And Norris is really good because Norris sometimes steps in and can see things from, you know, with eyes that are not an appraiser, that often, you know, put some reality into the decision process that the rest of us that have blinders from our own professional careers can't really see. So we have a really good mix that helps solve the problems and deals with anything. You know, with the appraisal community being down in general, you know, the economy going the way it is, our numbers, a number of appraisers keep dropping. So we haven't had as much, I think that's been less of a demand burden on us as a commission in general. And we have, you know, we haven't had anybody, we don't have as much challenges coming in from in our state. I think it's because we're a smaller state, where, you know, appraisers are going rogue out there and doing things on their own and, you know, unethically or whatever. And no one's really turning them in. So we don't really have as many of those challenges to handle.
Thank you for that feedback. I appreciate it.
That's my opinion, though.
This is going to be an unexpected comment, but guys, I'm going to be 74 in a couple of months. I'm probably not going to be on the commission for another, you know, a full year.
No.
So you'll need another residential appraiser pretty soon. It might not be a bad idea to start looking for someone. You know, we decided that 74 was the magic number, that we should just retire and relax. So.
For you. Good for you.
Well, Linda, we will hate to lose you, that's for sure, but I appreciate that feedback.
Yeah, I just, you know, we've been talking about it and we weren't really sure. And of course, doing this on a Zoom meeting isn't a big deal, but it's a good hike to get to Hartford. So that's part of the decision that we're making. But I love being on this committee. I was on it very early on with Jerry at the time when it started, and then left to start my own business. And now I'm back and I'm immensely enjoying it. And I'll probably, you know, sneak on as many of them as I can get once, you know, we've gotten a few more people on. But I just didn't want to leave you guys in the lurch. And as long as we're talking about it and they're talking about helping us get people, I think, you know, maybe we should start talking about that.
Good to know.
Norris, any thoughts?
No, the only thought I've always had about the commission, and thank you, Jenny, for being on, is how they do it with congressional districts. You know, picking an appraiser from a congressional district. I wish we could take that out and just saying, okay, we're going to pick this person. You know, if this person really wants to do it, if this person really wants to be on the appraisal commission, sometimes I think that can be tough. And I wish we could do something about that, because I'm sure we could find the vacancies, you know, find the people for these vacancies, but
Sure.
you got to go by congressional district. You know, the first congressional district, second congressional district. And I've always thought that wasn't good. You know, if people, I think people want to be on the commission, and if you put it where, okay, some guy lives in the second congressional district, but he's more than qualified. You know who I'm talking about. And you probably have the 8 people there. That's the only thing, but I think everything else has been great. I think everybody's done a great job. So I appreciate it.
Thank you for that comment. That's definitely a question for Vicky, and she can, you know, talk with y'all later about any opportunities for having that possibly changed. I don't know the answer, but Vicky can work with you on that. But I'm glad you made that comment. That's definitely something y'all can continue to discuss.
Jenny, I also have an insurance license, and I deal with the insurance department a lot. And my prior experience for working in government, I was an aide to a governor once, and to compare the insurance department with this little small agency, you know, the appraisal commission, it's totally done differently. And I've enjoyed it more than dealing with, and I got to deal with the insurance department on insurance issues. And I also do bail bonds. So I see the difference. And I've always said this runs 100 times better than the insurance department. And I've enjoyed it every bit of it, you know. And I tell the insurance department people, I tell the compliance people over there, you know, and they'll hear it from me, and I'll go, and they found out I was on this commission years ago, and they go, what's the difference? And I go, a big difference. And like I said, I've always said, hey, you guys should do it the way how they do it over here at the appraisal commission, but that would never happen. So, like I said, I've enjoyed every minute of it.
All right. What I was going to say is that I will follow up, and I think I had said that, Jenny, you know, at our previous meeting, our opening conference, that we will look into that to see how best to address it. And, you know, perhaps it'll be, you know, a statutory change. I'm not sure. I just don't know which direction the department would go. I have to seek maybe, you know, outside help from like either from the AG's office or, you know, of course, the commissioner to see which direction. But I will follow up on that and find out the best way for us to proceed on getting those vacancies filled.
Great.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Thank you.
Summing it up, Jenny, I think any assistance that you could give us, or when Vicky finds out certain things, we're always open. You know, we have a few openings, the more the merrier. And it's always been that way, but we don't get involved with how people get put on or anything like that. So
Right.
Norris brought up, there's not only congressional districts, I do believe there's a layer, there can only be so many Republicans, so many Democrats, so many independents. There's more layers to this than I ever thought of or knew of, but you pick that up over time. More the merrier. And so thank you for the offer.
Okay, well then we will.
And I think the offer with the letter, you know, we'll find out what the commission's position is on that in terms of whether, you know, she thinks that's the best way to proceed or not, but, you know, not to worry, we will follow up as we had indicated. Yeah, thank you.
Good.
Great. Well, I want to thank you for the time today and let you know the letter, you'll be receiving the letter. And once you receive it, if you have any questions or anytime you ever want my assistance, please reach out to me. I really appreciate the service that you have given to the commission. Some of you have been on here a long time, and it is just such a service to the industry, and we really appreciate your hard work. And thank you for that. And I particularly want to thank you for the moment of silence for our coworker that we are dearly, dearly missing. That is a huge blow to us. We're like a family. I live in Denver, Colorado, and Maria lives in Boise, Idaho. And so we travel together, you know, traveling and on the road together a lot, and we become a family. And so it is a huge loss. So I really appreciate you doing that. And with that, I'm going to open it up, see if anybody has any questions for me or wants me to cover something I haven't covered.
Jenny, Jerry here. I'll open up the first question. As you know, and heard from other states, I apologize for the phone in the background. The uniform standards, you know, taking the class, you know, updating, and then it was, you know, putting off for a year, and then we have all these entities going on. What are you hearing? What's going around the country? How are things being handled? You know, from around the block a time or two, been told, you know, it sounds good when it comes off of a Zoom call or in a conference room, but then implementing it, moving forward out in the field is a whole nother thing. So what any guidance or any background information you can help provide us? What are we going to be looking at come January with the individuals having to take their classes and so forth?
So the foundation is going to produce an update class. One of the things they have said is that the update class covers more than just changes to USPAP. It also covers things changing in the way appraisals are done, industry changes, those types of things. You know, there's a lot of the hybrid appraisals going on, evaluations, those types of things. So the course is going to cover those types of changes and updates versus specific changes to the USPAP document itself, but they will have a 7-hour USPAP update course available for appraisers to take, even though there won't be a new version of USPAP. And going forward, as far as what type of cycle USPAP is going to be on and that type of thing, I have no idea. There's been talk about all kinds of things. So what is ultimately going to come from that, I have no clue.
We're hoping you'd have a clue or some insight, because we keep hearing the same thing, and I guess we'll all learn it together, you know?
Yes, we will.
Thank you. Other commission members, any questions for Jenny and Maria?
I have a question pertaining to, and Linda Robitelli can help me phrase this if I get confused, but we had a gentleman who was on active duty for 4 years, and he was a provisional before, got off active duty, and now is coming back and reapplying. And the way we went through the regulations, et cetera, it came back that he had to take a total of 58 hours, I got that number right, he had to complete his continuing education, 28 hours for each of the 4 years he was on active duty, which just didn't make sense because he wasn't actively appraising. And it just felt like a punishment in a way, as than something being supportive. And I guess my question pertains to, is there a way of writing a letter or getting that changed or something, or has that popped up in other states? We don't have that as many veterans in this part of the country historically as in other parts of the country. And I just wondering if this had come up anywhere else too.
Well, I will say that the foundation has been very veteran motivated to assist them, and they have a big committee right now to help recruit veterans. And so I know they're very open to assisting them at this time. the education that you're talking about, the sort of purpose of that education, the 58 hours that he had to take, was to sort of bring him back up to, or her back up to speed, for having been out of the industry that long. I know that one relief that they give them is they can have a 90-day period where they can be active on the National Registry and work while they do that 58 hours of education. They have allowed that, but they have not necessarily waived that education for them. And so if you wanted, to approach them about that type of change, I think, they're very receptive right now to things with regard to veterans. So I would encourage you to write to the Appraiser Qualifications Board at the foundation and let them hear from you regarding that.
Jenny, do you hear this from what John brought up on other places? We had someone, and when he said service, military service, putting that time in, and, in this case, the gentleman comes back and it's like, I know the rules are the rules, but sometimes I think we get lost with, I don't want to, well, I'll use my word, common sense would say, listen, there's got to be some accommodation. It's got to come into play here. But the last thing we don't need to have is then be found out of compliance and so forth. So what John has just brought up, have you come across this case before?
Well, I have not been asked the specific question about waiving education. Mostly I get the question of giving them time to take that education. And so then that was when we sort of worked with the foundation to get that 90-day grace period for them to go ahead and start working and do that education. Because I think the concern was, preventing them from the ability to work while they're doing that education was more the types of concerns that we've received in the past. So, waiving the education is a new twist on it for me.
Okay. All right. John, is there any follow-up on that topic or any other topic?
No, I didn't know there was a separate committee for veterans, though. That's kind of, I think I might look into that for myself as a veteran. Just another way, Thank you. But that clarifies it. I understand. With these people, I had extensive talks with them, and it's interesting you made that comment, because one of the things that they came back on is, well, at least he's going to start expanding his education to other areas. So they weren't looking at it as a negative thing. They were just looking at it as a kind of a cost thing and a time burden thing.
Right. But yeah, I encourage you to reach out to the foundation. Dave Bunton has mentioned that on the last few updates. I've heard from the foundation that they have a veterans task force, or I'm not exactly sure what they're calling it, but it is set up to help recruit veterans into the appraisal industry. So I encourage you to look into that.
Great, thank you. Linda or Norris, or if Sean, if you're on as well, any questions?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. Norris? Maybe we lost Norris? Or he's on mute?
I'm good. I didn't-
Okay, very good. And Sean was not able. Okay, fair enough. All right. Well, great then. Well, as always, I've been saying this the last few times, Jenny, when we see each other. In 2 years, I don't know if I'll be around. But I've been saying that for so long. I'm like dirt around here. So you just can't get it off your shoe. So we'll see where that goes. But thank you. This is a little different. And I think we all long for the time where we can all at least meet in person again. So I know, I don't know, what were you looking at? January or February for you folks maybe to hit the road again, or it's too early to tell?
We actually plan to begin in October, October 1st. That's the beginning of our fiscal year. And that's when
Okay.
we will begin to hit the road. It will depend on the status of the states, though. If they're not prepared to receive us, we will continue with the virtual process.
Okay. Very good. Well, thank you. Does anybody else, Vicky or Linda or anyone from the state of Connecticut, Terry Jo, I didn't mean to exclude you from asking any questions. My apologies on that, but is there anything to be brought up? This is we don't get these opportunities often, as we know. But I do know Jenny and your colleagues there, and Vicky was always helpful. When we do have questions, you know, we're not afraid to come out and ask. You've seen that over the years, you know, to kind of give us a little bit of guidance. And we try very hard to be consistent and, you know, trying to deal with how the times have changed. John mentioned our numbers keep declining. I know they probably keep declining everywhere around the country. We, yes, like today I'm in Louisiana, you know, I do bounce around and talk to our fellow colleagues around the country here and the issues that and, you know, areas that I thought we might have been discussing a couple years ago now are so far in the rearview mirror. And I think the pandemic has also taught us that address what we can address, you know, and we can overcome things. So we certainly appreciate the support, because there are times we just don't know, and it does make us go back even in our own license and things that were written 25 years ago, and we didn't even know there was, you know, certain in there. I know, as John just brought up on the veterans thing, we know more about that little sector of the law now than we ever did, you know, but and we've found that we got to make some changes here, you know, on courses and so forth. But anyway, I digress. So I don't know, do you have more questions for us or comments, or we should move on to the agenda? I don't want to cut you folks short.
I'm done. So unless you have anything further, you know, for me, I just appreciate the time, and it's good to be with you, even though it's virtually, and continue all of the great work that you're doing up there in Connecticut. I hope I get to be there in person next time.
Very good. Well, thank you. And I assume you'll be staying with us for the remainder of our Zoom meeting, the portion of our agenda, if your time permits. So
yes, please.
Thank you. Okay. Linda Robitaille, I'm going to need a little help, because as you know where I am, and I didn't print out the agenda before I, you know, didn't plan on being on the road right now. But so I do know that we have some classes, and Linda Sepso, did you go through any recommendations or any motions to be made on the classes that were put on the agenda?
Linda, most of them except for that 1820 was, they were all AQB approved already?
Correct.
Yeah, and I know I don't have the email in front of me, but there was, screen sharing, what the heck? Oh, somebody just came in again. Hello. Sorry. Somebody just.
That is me. I'm screen sharing the agenda with you so that you may see the schools. If you look at your screen at this time, you should see the schools that were approved by DCP, and then also the school that needs to be approved by the commission today. So the entire agenda is there. Thank you. Sorry for not saying it before I did it.
So Linda, do you want to make a motion? Linda
Well,
Sepso?
Linda, do you remember, I think there was something missing with that 820 report. They didn't have, they had a lot of resumes, but not much of anything else. Normally
Yeah,
I'm used to seeing a PowerPoint or some kind of activity. This is just pretty much an outline.
Right, it was just the outline. It's their annual seminar they do for 3 hours every year discussing multifamily,
Okay,
the multifamily market, so to speak. So there wasn't a PowerPoint or anything, which is, you know, we don't require one, so.
okay. So that was the only thing, is, you know, there's a list of things that we want them to submit when they submit a class, so that we know that they've got everything done and it all makes sense to, when I'm reviewing them. And I do almost everything that I do is on the residential side. When it comes to commercial, I'll look at it quickly, but then I defer to either John or Jerry, because some of the stuff I'm not that familiar with, to know that if it's right or not. I would.
Excuse me, are we talking about 802? Because I thought you said 820 and I don't see an
Oh,
820.
it could be 802.
Yeah, it's 802.
802. Okay, the multifamily roundup. So Jerry, have you been to this? Do you think they need to extend us the PowerPoint and any other factors? I think they just gave us the resumes.
There was the resume and there was the timed outline with what was going to be discussed.
Yep. Yeah.
It's very similar to the Connecticut. I used to call it the round table, but when UConn give their presentations, usually back in October, November, before the pandemic, so to speak here. So it was free flowing and I always found it beneficial. So we've been consistent over the years of approving this one.
Okay, that's fine. I just didn't remember enough about this course, and because I sort of set in my head, I want to see this, 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 and this, and when one of them is missing, but it makes sense for this kind of, roundup thing. So I would approve that one. I wouldn't have any trouble with it.
Well, we can approve it contingent on them sending us the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
There
I
may
don't
not
even know
be a
if is it
PowerPoint.
actually going to be a PowerPoint, or is it just going to be a group of people discussing?
Right. It's more like the round table, like Jerry said, that, coming up, free forming, asking questions back and forth.
Okay. So I didn't see anything wrong with what they presented. It's just that they didn't send in what I was expecting. I thought there probably still was a PowerPoint, but I'm okay with it. The information they had sent was okay.
Okay, do you want to make a motion?
Yep, I'll make a motion that we approve AAL Class 802 as a 3-hour module.
Okay. And what about the other classes?
Jerry, those were all AQB approved.
Okay.
So I just glance at them. I don't really.
Okay, why don't we, for the record though, let's make a motion that they're approved.
Okay.
Okay.
And that we've approved all the AQB courses.
Okay.
Linda, were there any changes to the amount of hours? Like every once in a while, some has more hours.
No, there was only one CE. The rest were all pre-licensing.
Okay. Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion by Linda, a second by Norris, to approve all the courses that have been put forth on the June agenda. Discussion or questions? Hearing none, then we'll vote ayes.
Aye.
Aye.
Nays.
Aye.
Okay, then the motion passed. Thank you. Okay, moving else on the agenda here. Terry Jo, can you roll that up, please, here to help me? This is very helpful. That will go right up. Vicki, anything on the legal side? Vicki, do you have any questions on the legal?
Yes, I do have some good news. I think everybody knows, I think it was provided with the minutes in the agenda for today. The House Bill 6100 was signed by the governor on June 4th on Friday. So that was great. And in terms of the regulations, the public comment period will end on July 5th. So that's where we are.
All right, great. Any questions for Vicki on that, on the legal issues?
Vicki, will there be any public meeting or anything like that, like they've done for others in the past where they have a DCP?
Well, for the way that they're doing it now for public comment, it just has to be submitted. And what I will do is pass that information on to Terry Jo. And then if you wanted to make a public comment, it has to be uploaded and submitted in writing, email, like you could email it.
Okay, so can we discuss this for a minute? Is there a way to find out if, I guess my question is two-part. One, is there any other public comments being made on any of the stuff that we suggested? And then, and is there a way to find that out? And two, do we think we need to send some sort of public comment in support of what the changes we requested as a commission? Is that necessary?
Well, I mean, in the past, there have been some situations in which you guys made public comment, but again, it's not necessary. I don't think it warranted, but if you choose to, that's fine. In terms of the period, once the comments are there, there will be an opportunity to review all comments. But, and like, again, when I send the email, it will tell you, send all of your comments here. You have up until July 5th, and then there's a review period of that. And I will send the email that tells you where everything should be sent.
All right, I'm just trying to think this through a little bit, because this is not anything, there's been nothing here that's been controversial. So there probably
Correct.
is no
That's right,
need for us to
Right.
further pop our heads up.
Generally, in the past, what you guys have done is if there was something that you felt strongly about or something that, you know, really needed to have, you know, your tacit approval, then you have provided comment, but otherwise, you know. That you haven't, not know that you shouldn't, but know that you have not in the past.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, good, good. All right then. Under the new business, I know we're going to, you know, free forming here. Paul Champagne seeking equivalent education for the NMHC Apartment Strategies Outlook Conference. Paul submits this every few years, every couple of years, and in this particular case, 2 hours for each section for a total of 6 hours. A little bit of background, years ago, they were at 1.5 hour sessions. I can see, because not only us, but other entities around the country were saying, listen, you have to have a minimum of 2 hours. You can see now, I think these folks with the apartment strategies and so forth had then expanded these sessions, workout sessions, to 2 hours each. So therefore you do get, you know, to meet not our requirements, but the requirements across the land here. So any comments or thoughts or questions or concerns with Mr. Champagne's application here for equivalent education?
I went through it and I thought that everything that I saw was appraisal pertinent, for sure. Some very good information there.
John, do you want to make a motion?
All right, I make a motion that we accept his request, Paul Champagne's request, for 6 hours of continuing education credits for the NMHC Apartment Strategies Outlook Conference.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second by Norris. Comments, thoughts? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. Ayes,
Aye.
Aye.
nays, abstentions. So Mr. Champagne has 6 total hours of CE from his application put forth here. Terry Jo, can you roll down the scroll a little bit here? I want to make sure I haven't missed anything. I took notes, you know, on the plane coming in and making sure I think we've covered. So it's open to any other questions that may be. We have some people who are from the general public. If we can open their mics in the event that they have any questions or concerns, or raise their hand, however this works in the Zoom. Any questions? I see Jackie's on the line. Jill, any questions, thoughts, comments? Okay. Hearing none.
Thank
Oh,
you,
go
Jared.
ahead.
It's
I'm sorry.
Jackie. No, thank you. Just wanted to listen in, had the opportunity to, you know, to hear with the audit. So thank you for the opportunity via Zoom. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Welcome. Thanks for being on board. Jill, welcome. Any questions or thoughts?
No, I don't have any questions at this time.
Okay, thank you then.
Thank you.
Right. And Terry Jo, is there anybody else that I don't see name or anything on the screen that we could that they, again, I can only see what I can see here, so if there are no others,
No, no one else has joined the meeting. No.
okay, fair enough then. All right, anything else that needs to come before the commission today on this beautiful day in June? Okay, hearing none, then I guess the only thing left is to say, once again, until our paths cross again in a couple years, Penny Maria, thank you for the time. I know you're going to have follow-up, I guess, calls or meetings with our staff and others within the state, but we thank you for your time. But most importantly, we know that you're there, and the board knows we ask you the questions. We will follow up when we're not sure. We're not afraid to reach out to get some guidance or, how they doing it in other places. So we always thank you for taking our calls and giving the advice or guidance when you can on whatever the subject matter may be before us. So again, thank you very much for your time, and everyone have a good summer. And if I could have a motion to bring this meeting to conclusion.
I'll make a motion that we bring the meeting to a conclusion.
Okay, second,
Second it.
Linda seconds. Ayes,
Aye.
nays. Okay, thank you, folks, and
Thank you.
enjoy the summer, okay?